Law enforcement suicides are at an all-time high right now. One of the causes is poor leadership within the law enforcement profession. Nick, the host of the Roll Call Room podcast, has written a book, Police Mental Barricade, A Survivor's Guide to Poor Law Enforcement Leadership. This book is a raw and powerful look into suicide and how poor leadership decisions contribute to law enforcement suicides. Buy the book now at mentalhealthbarricade.com and stop the stigma.
The path. The warpath. A path of war. Moving toward a battle. A fight towards war. The actual war against our nation's enemies, or the war against my own weaknesses. Preparing and sharpening my sword and honing my skills and maintaining the unmitigated daily discipline in all things. Where does it lead? It can lead to war, and that's fine. In fact, I am waiting, and I am ready. Because the warpath is a war against weakness, and so it leads to strength. It's a war against ignorance, and so it leads to knowledge. It's a war against confusion, and so it delivers understanding. The warpath leads to control and leads to ownership of your life. And that is the warpath. The path of fire and adversity. The path of blood and of sweat and of suffering. The warpath is the preeminent path of discipline, which is why it leads to freedom. And beyond that, in the end, it leads to peace.
You're listening to the podcast that changed the game and rocked an entire profession. Talking about shit in law enforcement that keeps poor leaders up at night. When others run scared and hide behind fake policies, the Roll Call Room podcast tells it like it is. No bullshit. No matter how hard these thieves try, we keep killing it. And now, here are your hosts, Nick and Mike.
A company always on the run, a destiny, oh, it's the rising sun. I was born a shotgun in my hands, behind the gun, I'll make my final stand. Yeah, and that's why they
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Roll Call Room podcast. Good to see everybody again. How's everybody been? Man, a lot has changed since being on last. It's been quite a while. Happy to be back, folks. It's been a long road and very, very happy to be back. How's everybody been doing? How have you all been handling things? How's life been? Whew, it's been crazy. It's been crazy, folks. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Happy to be back. The Roll Call Room podcast is happy to be back. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Some surprises we've got planned. But most importantly, we are back. Had to disappear for a little bit. Had a lot of stuff going on. Closed our coffee shop. Was a huge success. But ultimately, some things like supply chain issues and stuff like that. But the good thing is the brand will live on. So that was sold off, which was great. And I still enjoy coffee very, very much. And moved again. Last time I was on, I was in the middle of moving to another house, and then I just moved to a different house. So, that if you've ever gone through moving, you know how much of an absolute pain in the ass that is. And of course, changed jobs, left the government, and got this really awesome job. I'd like to say where, but I'm not going to. But just rest assured, it's a fantastic place. And a lot of stuff that I will talk about going forward on this podcast will be related to where I am. Just about the leadership, just the difference in leadership from law enforcement and going into the private sector. So big adjustments, positive adjustments, and it really will come into play when we talk about law enforcement leadership or lack of leadership. So that's another thing. We're going to bring back some of our old guests that we had on, which built the Roll Call Room podcast, some of our favorites like Lieutenant Colonel Grossman. We'll have Ernie back on. We'll have quite a few bunch of people, but that's not even the big surprises. We've got a lot of stuff planned, and I'm super excited. Also in the middle of writing my 12th book, which is volume 2 of Police Mental Barricade. This one's taken quite a lot longer than the first one, mostly because free time is very spare these days. So, which is good, which is very, very good. And then, of course, there was a lot of self-care that needed to happen behind the scenes. It got to the point where I felt like the podcast was really going in the direction of just nothing but animosity towards my old agency, and that could fester after a while. That went on for almost 2 years, or it was 2 years. And those of you that have been with us since the beginning, you know the backstory, so I'm not going to bore you with it. But once my old police chief was removed and left, I pretty much just disconnected from anything to do with that agency. Now, I will tell you this is that I have a lot of new people that reach out from my old agency that are give me information and tell me how terrible things still are. But you have to have faith that things are going to get better. I think there's a big change in law enforcement as a whole that needs to happen. We'll talk about that. But more importantly, a lot of the folks reached out, and it really hit home after my former chief left how much that was going on, and the bad morale and just the mass exodus. When somebody leaves, you realize that they were the cause of that. So felt good to get those kind of calls. I got a couple of phone calls from folks that were forced out, like myself, and seeking advice and asking how to go about things. And I have to say, because I'm in a different position now, because time has gone on, I've even surprised myself with my response, which is be cautious about, what your need to have closure is. Is it needing closure for yourself, or is it needing closure to make others believe the truth? And if it's the latter of the two, then you're going down a dangerous road. And I can tell you, I know what that's like, because that's exactly what I did. I spent a long period of time trying to convince people of what the truth was. And then it just gets to the point where you're just like, what does it fucking matter? Like, who cares? I don't talk to these folks anymore. I've run into them a couple of times during my day-to-day shopping with the family and everything, and it's always super awkward when you run into somebody that you used to work with and not a good relationship with them. But the plus side of it is they still have to adhere to conduct becoming of an officer, meaning you can't really say very much to me off duty. But I'm not held to that same standard. So it's fun for me. I enjoy giving them the middle finger. I enjoy publicly shaming them. I do enjoy all of that stuff. But it's no longer out of a need. It doesn't come from anger. It's more of just funny. I just find it funny. And it makes me laugh. So, and I've learned over the last couple of months that really, honestly, that's who you really, really need to be concerned with is what your self-care is and how you're doing mentally. And for a long period of time, I think I would say probably 6 to 8 months of the last recordings of the Roll Call Room podcast, I just wasn't there. I enjoyed doing the episodes. I really thoroughly enjoyed taping them and coming up with cool content. But it really was just a replacement. I wasn't really handling any of the things that I was going through, like depression. And, I was at a job that I was happy to have, working for the government. I'm very happy to serve, but it wasn't in the capacity of a law enforcement officer anymore. But it was working for the government, but it wasn't rewarding for me. It wasn't something that I can see myself doing for 20 years, or 20, 30 years, like being a police officer. And, so I had that when the podcast wasn't going on. I was more miserable than anything because, my work life, I hated going into work, but it wasn't the same kind of hate going into work like the last couple of years in law enforcement. It was more of not living up to my potential, not really excelling the way I wanted to, and not utilizing any of the skills that I acquired while I was in law enforcement. And for me, it kind of brought a lot of depression because it just reinforced that I left law enforcement and I didn't get anything better. I actually felt like I had taken a step backwards. And then internally, I kept on thinking to myself, hey, they won. They got what they wanted. They kicked me out, and I'm not doing as good as I was. And that took a huge, huge toll. And then I buried myself in the podcast and then writing books, which I absolutely enjoy writing books. They may not be edited correctly. They may not have the best spelling, but I enjoy writing them. And I thoroughly enjoy the reviews online of folks that review the book, and they're like, "This guy should have spent a lot more time editing the book." It always makes me chuckle because if you're reading a book written by any real good beat cop, if you're if you're expecting, like a Stephen King novel with big words and grammar that's correct, my books are not the books that you should be reading, quite honestly. So I did enjoy I do enjoy reading those. I refrain from commenting back, and for quite a few reasons, because it got to the point when I was at my government job and things weren't going so great. Anger just started to fill up my life, and then this job that I'm at right now, which was a huge Hail Mary. Like, when I put in for this job, it was one of those jobs where I found it on Indeed, and I was like, I'm never gonna get this fucking job. Like, this job is like, like, I meet some of the criteria, but not all of it. But like, this is my dream job. This I can see myself excelling at. I can see myself contributing and utilizing a lot of the law enforcement stuff that I learned. And so I put in for it, and took, like, I want to say 5 or 6 months. And I remember getting a phone call for a phone interview, which was the first part of the process. And I actually remember saying to myself that I thought it was a scam, because it just, from the time that the phone interview, it was so inviting. It was so it was everything that I wished that law enforcement was. It was a genuine kindness, and it was a genuine, like, we want the best people working for us, and this is who we are. And that might sound corny, but quite honestly, it was really what I was looking for. And just like, putting in for law enforcement, each step of the way, each part of the process to get hired, you start to doubt yourself. You start to doubt whether or not you're going to get it. And, each part of the process got more and more difficult. And I would even venture to say that the hiring process for where I am right now was way more complicated and way harder than putting in for law enforcement. And I know some of you are going to be listening to this. You're sitting in your cruiser or your car, and you're like, there's no fucking way. Yes, fucking way. And the reason being is that it's a company that really, really emphasizes on good leaders. And it's really, really fucking hard to find them. And then it's easy to find paper leaders. It's easy to find people that on their resume, it's 14 fucking pages long, and they've got, degrees up the wazoo. And I think I've talked about this on in a couple of episodes. I know a lot of folks that have master's degrees, and they're fucking idiots. A master's degree does not make you brilliant. It doesn't make you a genius. Yes, it gives you a lot of knowledge and teaches you things that other people don't know, but it does not make you a leader. So for me, it was eye-opening, and it was encouraging, because I kept making it through each part of the process, because I had met the criteria that they were looking for. And I remember like waiting for to see if I got it. And I remember the day that I got the call. They called me. They set up a call. That was the weirdest part. Is they were like, "Hey, we're gonna call you at 3:00. Let's say it was like noon. We're gonna call you at 3:00 and discuss your interview." That was the most nerve-wracking 3 hours of my life. And then, of course, I went on Google, and I started looking up. I was like, if they ask for you, if they schedule a phone call, does that mean you got it or you didn't get it? And of course, Google, fucks with you. 50% says, you didn't get the job, and 50% say, that's a good sign. But I remember I was living in a house that I was miserable at. I was at a job that I was miserable at. So this was really a real crossroad. And then the podcast was kind of fizzling out, and not fizzling out as in the listenership, because the listenership has always been high. It just had fizzled out because it had gotten to the point where it was more, I felt that I wasn't being true to the original mission of the Roll Call Room podcast, which was mental health and really discussing the issues. And I made the decision to kind of put it on hold until that can kind of get buttoned up. And the phone call happened, and they offered me a position. And not only did they offer me a position, but it was far beyond my wildest dreams, what the position was and the benefits package and all of this stuff. So I really think that was the pivotal point in my life where things just kind of started really going up. I felt a sense of pride. I felt a sense of being part of something very, very big. The same way I felt when I first joined the police department. I felt like I was doing something for a good cause. I was doing something that was contributing to the big machine. The only difference was that I can tell right away that the leadership within this organization far exceeded any of my expectations, and I really didn't know how right I was until I started, because I work with some of the most smartest people I've ever worked with before, and it's a very, very unique dynamic because, and I say it a lot to my coworkers, I wish that this organization and law enforcement would integrate, because law enforcement can learn quite a lot about leadership. And I also say quite a lot that if half of the leaders, I would say even more than half the leaders, I would say probably 90% of the leaders attempted to go through this interview process, they would not make it because of their quote unquote leadership style, which is more of a dictatorship, more of a positional equity leader. And those of you that have not listened to other podcasts or have read my books, positional equity is basically when I will only do for you something where the end result ultimately benefits me. Or I will hold my help that I'm going to give you over your head and cash it in as a token later on. So I can hold this thing over your head as long as I want. And that's just not the case in the organization that I'm with. And it blew me away because it is seriously all about helping each other and having the same goal, which is if I only worry about me and I don't help other people that need help, we're never going to get to the finish line. And you just don't see that very much, especially in law enforcement, because it's more of like, well, I'm not going to tell Mary how to do this because I look better by knowing it and she doesn't. So I'm a more superior officer by doing that. And that could be nothing further from the truth. And there were a lot of other things which I'll talk about as, the podcast goes on. But it was a very, very good move. And then, I went over there and I've been working over there for quite a while now. And the idea of starting the podcast up kept coming up every once in a while. And then the dynamics of the podcast, of who would be on the podcast, how would we do the podcast, those were things that I thought about. And I really struggled with how we would bring it back. What would the Roll Call Room podcast look like? one of the surprises that'll come later on just happen at the right time. And it was very unique because it started as a message between two people, and taught me a lot about how time changes everything. What you would dig your heels in the ground for, and what was your absolute standard that you would stick to, changes over time. And I almost say it should, with maturity. And I'd like to say that I think 2 years has definitely made me a lot more mature. Doesn't mean that I'm mature in any way, and we will see that as this show continues. But more than anything, I wanted to do the first episode to kind of give you the background of where everything was, where it stopped, and kind of let you know that we're back. We're going to talk about real issues going on within law enforcement. We're going to highlight good leaders. We're going to highlight some bad decisions within law enforcement, some that are old news, some that are current events. And that's just how we do it, because the show pretty much has ADHD, so we can't stay on one topic and stay current. So, but more than anything, what we wanted to do is we wanted to open it up and start having folks that listen to the show, that have listened to the show for a very long time, come on to the show. So we're going to give an opportunity for folks like you that are listening right now to come on to the show. And of course, if you're with a law enforcement agency, your secrecy is very important to us. We've done it in the past where we've had folks on here with alias names and other things to conceal their identity. We in no way want you to get, tricked up with some of the stuff going on. So you can reach out, Nick at rollcallroom.com. Reach out, tell me that you want to be on the show, and we can get you on. Just bear in mind, it may not be like tomorrow, because we've lined up a lot of guests, a lot of people that I'm intrigued to catch up with and see where they are and how their life has gone. So those are things that are going on, and we'll be up to our old shenanigans again, and things will be very, very interesting on the Roll Call Room podcast. But more importantly, thanks for sticking with us. I know it's like having a crazy family member, so you all are like our family. So with that, like I said, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we'll continue our first episode back.
I feel unhappy. I feel so sad. I have lost the best friend that I ever had. She was my woman. I love her so. But it's too late now.
And the screams from everywhere. I'm addicted to the thrill.
ready.
It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Who's gonna run this town tonight?
With me is Logan. Logan, how are you, buddy? How's everything going? It's been forever.
Dude, I'm doing fantastic.
I was just
How are
on
you?
your show last week, which sparked wanting to get the podcast up and running again, man. So
Grease the wheels for you.
thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Great intro. I enjoy that song because it'll get red flagged, and I'll have to remove it because Jay-Z does not like his music used
so weird.
for podcasts. It's so fucking stupid.
At all. Like he's not on. Is he on iTunes? Is he on Spotify?
No, he is not on iTunes. That's the on Spotify. He's not on Spotify.
Oh, he's on iTunes.
He's on iTunes.
But I don't think it's his stuff though.
Yeah, it's Linkin Park that he did. Like,
Oh no, the
The
Black
remix.
Album's on here and the Blueprint. No, it's all on
It's
here.
on
I
there?
thought he wasn't on there anymore.
interesting. Every time I've posted a song in the podcast, that's gotten flagged. So
Oh yeah.
whatever, I don't give a fuck. So how you been, Bud? How's life been? Been out of law enforcement for a year now, right?
Yeah, just over a year.
How's it feeling?
I got asked the other day. This echo is going to kill me. I got asked the other day how I felt about it, and they asked me if I missed it, and I immediately turned around with not 1 second.
Yeah, as time
that's
goes
always
on,
my answer.
yeah, I think as time goes on, and then when you see stuff in the news, I think it becomes more and more where you're just like, fuck, man, like I got out at the right time.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think more and more, I think departments are really, really struggling right now to put asses in seats at the academy. It's funny, earlier today, I was having a conversation with my wife and a friend of hers who didn't complete the first time through the academy. She failed out through firearms, not my wife, her friend. And the department was like, hey, listen, we're going to put you through a second time. And so she passed the second time, and then she stayed for a year in the agency, and it was just taking a huge mental toll on her. So she wound up resigning. Well, they just served her with paperwork, civil paperwork, the other day to pay back her academy at the cost of $22,000. And I'd love to know from folks out there, fans that listen to this show, if their agency does that shit too, where you've got to pay back your academy. Is that something in your area that you've seen them do, or it doesn't
I
strike
think
me as a
I've
good
heard of it.
recruiting tool?
Oh my gosh. I think I've heard of that happening
Yeah,
in Indiana, but I don't know any firsthand stories.
I think it's, and that was the discussion that I had with my wife this morning. I said, that's the worst fucking recruiting tool, because they're making them sign like a 3-year commitment. And like, what if it doesn't work out for you? Like, what if you get hurt? What if you become disabled? What if you go out on medical?
I'm sure that there's some sort of clause in there, because I know that there's sign-on bonuses and bonuses when it comes to laterals and all that, and it's they'll get like a $10,000 payout over a period of 5 years or whatever, but you have to make sure that you stay on for 5 years, or you have to pay it back.
Right.
But as far as like academy costs and everything, I've never heard of that.
I don't understand that. Could you imagine them doing that like in the military? Like, it's like, we're gonna need that boot camp money back. Like,
You
the
sign your
training.
life away for that
Yeah,
more
it's
than
like-
law enforcement, though.
It's like, but it just shocked me because it reminded me, one, of how absolutely fucking insane the jurisdiction that I came from. And that was the sheriff side of the business. It wasn't the police side, but the police side does the same thing. They do a 2-year commitment. And they actually do go after people, because I've had folks call me and be like, hey, I just got served. And I was like, I'd go to fucking court, man. I'd go to court. This is one of those times that the anti-cop movement is on your side, because these judges are pretty much like sticking it to the fucking cops. So this is your chance, man. This is your chance to be like, hey, listen, this agency wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I think the other thing is why keep somebody that doesn't want to be there? Like, what if they
Yeah,
change
that-
their mind now and they're like, all right, fuck it. I've got 8 months left to go. I'll come back.
Well, they just want a body.
And that's scary, man. That's just super, super fucking scary, man. Like,
Well, it's like we were talking about that, like that meme that's like, you know, you got to come meet the new recruits, and it's the fucking Island Boys. I mean, it's true. You look at some of these younger kids, and it's like we used to fight over positions
yeah,
in law enforcement. Like, I mean, you would have 100 guys show up,
yeah.
and there'd be 2 spots.
Yeah, and we talked about it when I appeared on your show. There was a picture on Instagram or Facebook. I can't remember which one. It was the Chicago Police Department, one of the largest police departments in the country. And they showed a picture of their new recruits, and I was blown away because it was like 16 of them. It was like 16. And man, I remember back in the day there was a waiting list to get on Chicago and NYPD. And in my jurisdiction, when they held a test, mine was held at a college auditorium because there was so many people. And I was like, holy shit, I'm never going to get fucking hired, aside from all the other fucking problems I had, but mostly because of the numbers. And now the folks that show up are just like 10, if you're lucky. And in my jurisdiction, what they used to do is they used to have an officer stand outside the door before you went in to take the test and like run your driver's license. And we had like we had 2 people that were fucking wanted, bro. It was fucking hilarious. It was hilarious. You go there to go take your police exam, and you're like, "Yes, I'm here to take this police exam." And they're like, "Oh, okay, let me get your stuff."
Warrant.
And they're like, "Why don't you come over here to our special waiting room?" And you're like, special waiting room. We're gonna do a practical. We're gonna put these cuffs on you. And
you're gonna bend over and cough. It's like that. They did something like it was like a fake sweepstakes where people had won the lottery or whatever, and it was really people with warrants.
Yeah. So bringing this show back, I started putting feelers out because I want to start getting some of the original fans that were part of the show. And we had talked before the show kind of went on a hiatus. You'll be on as a co-host from time to time. And
this is my first official.
I know this is the first official.
Co-host.
You got a cartoon, so you are official. Bro, this is gonna blow your fucking mind. So one of the people that reached out to me on Instagram, this guy was in. I think it was 4 or 5 Cops episodes from the 1990s.
Oh my god!
I cannot fucking wait to talk
The
to this
original,
guy. The OG. Have you ever seen the episode?
I was about to say, is it the first guy that racks the shotgun?
Oh, that's my fucking favorite episode. That episode gets me, the jillies in me so bad, bro. Like, I watched that episode. I have it saved on my YouTube account. It is the greatest episode of all time. And folks, if you have not seen it, go on YouTube and just search Cops original episode Shotgun.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Like, if you did that now, your sergeant would meet you out on the street and take everything from you. They're pursuing this car. I think it was a stolen car, right? Or a robbery?
I think it's something like that.
It was something weird, like maybe even questionable today whether or not we would pursue for that. But it's a 2-man car, and the passenger like rolls down the window. They're side by side with the suspect's car, which is insane when it comes to like tactics and shit. And the passenger unhooks the shotgun in between them, rocks it, and holds it out the window while they're going. Let's just give them even 50 miles an hour, which is definitely not 50, right? And racks it and points it at the driver and has some choice words. They bleep it, of course, but I'm sure it was in the lines of like, pull the fuck over or else I'm going to, and they aired it. And I remember being a kid watching that. Like, I remember being a kid and being like, that's fucking what I want to do. Like, that's what I want to do. Between that, Die Hard, and Lethal Weapon, and Beverly Hills Cop, that's what I wanted to do.
You know, people always forget that Lethal Weapon, the first one, is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
Because that opening scene,
I'll fight somebody and says it's not. And then not only that, Murtaugh's house is all decked out in Christmas gear. Yeah. And I think that movie's freaking awesome. And I hope that they make another one now that Mel Gibson has been forgiven or semi-forgiven. And before him and Danny Glover die.
Danny Glover. Yeah.
He can do it. The smart thing to do is to do a movie where they hand it off, like what Top Gun did. You know, like newer, younger generation hand it off, but it's got to be done right. Because remember, they tried to do that with Chris Rock in the fourth Lethal Weapon, and it kind of didn't work. He really kind of came off really annoying. Like, it was too annoying. So
I don't know. I feel like they did too many of them, whereas Top Gun just had that one, and then
30 years later,
40 years later,
yeah,
they came out with a sequel. So that's why it worked.
Yeah, I mean, Beverly Hills Cop is doing a new one on
I heard
Netflix,
that.
straight to Netflix. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, because Eddie Murphy signed like this massive fucking deal where he's going to do the first stand-up special in like.
He's actually doing a stand-up special?
Yeah, it's an hour long. They paid him. I think they paid him something in the $300 million, like Dave Chappelle money. But
his stand-up is like untouchable.
But here's the thing: he's been off the stage for over 30 years, and he ain't working the clubs. So, he's a goat. But hopefully he's out there. He's testing material. He's back. He's in the clubs. Be. I hope so, because man, he murdered it in the.
I mean, you hear like Rogan talk about him. You hear Chappelle talk about him.
Yeah,
and saying how like he was so fast.
Yeah,
his mind was just lightning fast, and he's up there with Richard Pryor and Robin Williams when it came to just the hardcore stand-up comedy, the originators of it.
Captivating. Yes. Bill Cosby before his whole thing, very captivating. I
saw him.
Did you?
In prison? 2012, I think.
Oh, okay. Wasn't like
he was hilarious. Shot. I mean, it was before the trials.
All of his tape stuff. He's funny fucking guy. Like, he could tell a story like Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan's another one. He could tell a story. Jim Gaffigan doesn't curse. His stuff isn't dirty.
But the whisper voice gets annoying.
Yeah, it does. I saw him live. Him live, and he was very, very funny. I've seen my man is Tom Segura. I love the guy.
Oh, Tom Segura, yeah.
He makes me die laughing. He puts videos out all the time on his social media. It could be like 2 minutes long, and I die laughing. When he broke his, did you see when he broke his arm?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like the Two Bears One Cave podcast.
I love that podcast. Two Bears.
Tom Segura was just in South Bend not too long ago. I opted, instead of going to see him, we went and saw the Hodge twins.
I saw it. My wife got me tickets to see Tom, and he was getting ready for his Netflix special. Oh, this is even better. This is my ADHD. So I took my daughter to go see Nick Kroll. You know who Nick Kroll is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he created the show Big Mouth, which is fucking hilarious.
Guy that plays every rat-faced lawyer in every movie ever.
Yeah. And so I went to his Netflix taping in D.C. So it's coming out in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
And I got fucking tickets like right close. So like every time the camera came over, and I've never been to a Netflix taping before.
Yeah.
And somebody comes out and they're like, listen, don't look at the cameras. Don't get up and go to the restroom or go get drinks in the middle of the jokes. It was a really cool experience because he would like go to tell a joke and he would screw the joke up and he would go, hold on. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to start that over again, and then tell the joke again so that they can record it. It was a really cool experience. Really, really cool. And it was funny as fuck too.
Dude, Nick Kroll's good.
Yeah. not Dave Chappelle and Segura and Bert Kreischer, but I'd like to say his name wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Not as funny as them. Chappelle is like, man, I could listen to that guy talk forever, man.
I would pay a
forever.
lot of money to go see Dave Chappelle.
And he's smart, man. He's
Oh,
such
yeah.
a smart dude, and that comes from his mother. I don't know if you saw on. That's right, you canceled Netflix.
I did.
But he got the Mark Twain Award, and his speech during the accepting that award was just phenomenal. And then when the whole controversy came with the closer, at the same time, the high school that he went to in DC wanted to name the auditorium after him. And there was a lot of pushback. Some of the students didn't want that to happen. The public didn't want it to happen. And Netflix, like under the radar, put a Netflix special out with him at the school. And at the end of it, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it's very, very well put together. And the guy is just very, very smart. And I think the problem that we have now in this country is that you can't be funny and you can't make fun of things. And it's sad. It's a sad, like we're in a weird dynamic.
See, the problem is that people have that attitude is, oh no, you can't say that. It's like, yes, you can.
Yes.
You need to say things. This whole PC culture and everything, that comes from communism.
Yes.
Political correctness does, because it's the right speech,
Yep.
quote unquote. And it's like, people get so frustrated. My wife gets frustrated when I bring up politics, and they always talk about how there's a couple things you shouldn't talk about with new people, and one of them is always politics. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why can't we have discourse and have conversations about it? So if I can laugh at myself and make fun of myself, I can make fun of you. You can make fun of me. We can all laugh about it and have a good time and move on. Because Chris D'Elia, the stand-up comedian, he has a great joke about it, because he's like, the best thing about stand-up comedians is when we say stuff and it offends you, the best thing is we're joking.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so true. Like, you're just having a good time. You're just having a laugh and moving on. Stop wanting to be offended. People wake up every single day and want to be a professional victim about
cancel.
something. And it's like, just get over yourself and move on.
And cancel culture, man. Like, you get canceled over everything. Like, I think what it is, and speaking to what you said, I think a lot of it has to do with is if I can't change your mind to agree with me, then I'm going to cancel you. Or in a work setting, it's harassment. If you don't agree with me, or we have a disagreement about politics and you don't come on my side, like I didn't convince you to come on my side, then it's harassment. It's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to have two different views. And I can't remember who the comedian was that said it out. I think it was Tom Segura. And he was like, you have every right to be offended, just like I have every right to offend you. That's the way that America is built. And it just astounds me that a guy like, Chappelle and some of these other folks that got canceled, and a lot of them are coming full circle now. Now, a lot of them that got wrongfully canceled are coming around, and they're flourishing, which I'm so happy about. But it's nowhere near over, man. Like it is like it far exceeds like what we experience, or we had experienced when we were in law enforcement. We did these podcasts where you were like, watch your P's and Q's. Don't say where you work. Make sure you're not talking about politics. Like, make sure you're not talking about race. And I remember on the earlier seasons, like the first season with Mike, we specifically stayed away from politics, and we specifically stayed away from the third rail conversations of race, because we knew that a lot of folks weren't in a good place where they could sit there and listen to the opposition and go, yeah, I see some of your point of view. I don't agree with all of it, but I see some of your point of view. And I'm glad that I listened and we had an open dialogue. It ain't that way. It's not that way, man. It's more of like you either agree with my way or you're canceled. And social
See,
media has a lot
I
to
don't
do
think
with
it
that.
really is anymore.
You don't?
I think the
You think
cancel
it's turning
culture thing
around?
is. I think it is. I
I
think
hope
it's because
so. I hope you're right.
I don't think it should. I don't think it should be there at all.
Oh no, I agree with you. I agree.
Well, the problem is that people from the right side of the spectrum. Oh, let's cancel them. No,
No.
you're doing the exact thing that you were pissed off about.
Yeah. I
We can't do that. We all speech should be acceptable.
yeah.
When it comes to speaking. If we're just going to talk about it like that, but like you can't cancel people if you don't like to be canceled.
Right. Well, and that's
It
what
doesn't make any sense.
See, and that's the paradigm. That's kind of what's ironic is that a lot of the folks that were canceling people now got canceled themselves because they were hypocrites. You had folks that were like, the one that comes to my mind right away is Olivia Wilde. That's the newest one. She was huge into cancel culture and everything. She was married to Jason Sudeikis, the most sweetest man and gorgeous human being ever chiseled by flesh. Gorgeous. Ted Lasso. And she was painted as this, prim and proper and very like wholesome person. And then like she was directing a movie and she put it out that she fired Shia LaBeouf. And the guy's had problems, hands down. I love him. If you ever have a chance to not talk to him, Jesus, listen to him on podcasts. Very, very smart dude, man. Very smart, especially now that he's cleaned up. He's no longer an alcoholic. But so she puts it out, the narrative out. She's like, I fired him. I couldn't put up with his bullshit. And this guy, like, man, God bless his soul, man. He puts out pictures of text messages of her begging him to come back to the film because he quit, and all this other stuff. And then it comes out that, the guy that she was dating, some singer, Harry Styles, I think it is, or something like that. All along, what it was she wanted him to be the leading person. So she gets canceled because of that. And it's stuff like that that's just so ironic. You're just like, we got so much stuff going on, man. Like, God.
Shia LaBeouf kind of had a rough run.
He had a rough
because
childhood,
starting with Even Stevens and then going into a whole bunch of movies, he arguably gives, and I've talked about this before, he gives one of the best explanations of law enforcement. We've talked about this in the movie Fury, when he says, "Wait till you see it."
Yes.
What a man can do to another man. And it's like that right there. His line delivery was so good in that movie. And did you see Peanut Butter Falcon?
No.
That one's good too.
Hold on, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, it's I think it's like his neighbor or his brother or his friend has Down syndrome and he gets bullied, so he kind of like befriends him and everything. It's a really good movie.
I got to check that out. One of my favorite appearances of his was he on where? Oh, he was on Jimmy Kimmel, I think. It was right after he got arrested in Walgreens in Manhattan. Did you ever see
when
that?
He's telling his story?
Dude, that story, holy mackerel. There's something to be said about a person that could laugh about something like that and how fucked up he was. And
have you heard the Running Through the Forest from Shia LaBeouf song?
No.
YouTube it.
Okay. I'm going to look that up. Next episode you and I do, that's going to be an opener. But
it's a great song. There's like it's like an opera song about like waking up in the woods and it's dark and all of a sudden Shia LaBeouf is there and he's chasing you.
See, and I love that kind of stuff, man. I love people getting creative with that stuff. And you don't see him like getting all pissed off, and like he wasn't even pissed off about the Olivia Wilde thing. He was more of like, listen, don't do that to me. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to recover. I'm trying to build my life. I just had a kid. Don't do that to fuck with my career. And make it seem like you're going after easy publicity because your movie is, in essence, he's like, your movie sucks and
Yeah.
that's your way of bringing attention to it.
He was on John Bernthal's podcast recently, Real Ones.
Oh yeah,
I haven't listened to it yet,
By the
but
way,
I've heard it's
just-
fantastic.
I just found his podcast. John Bertham, right?
Bernthal.
So the folks that don't know who he is, he's the guy that played the best Punisher, and allegedly he's going to be the new Punisher for a full length movie.
Allegedly.
But I just found his podcast, and it ranks up there with Jocko Willink.
It's different though. It's
it is.
conversations with I'm going to say real people, and not saying that Jocko doesn't have conversations with real people, but it's more average people.
Yeah, Jocko is more of like motivational. Like I'm actually listening to his audiobook right now, a leadership book by Jocko.
Which one?
It's one that he did in 20
Extreme Ownership?
No, it wasn't that one.
A dichotomy of leadership?
Leadership strategy and tactics.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Very old one. I think this is his first one. And I got to tell you, man,
I think that one's the sequel to Extreme Ownership.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not a sequel, but it's
dude, the first 5 minutes of that audiobook was fucking powerful because
their stuff is good. Between him and Leif Babin, the co-author, those books are fantastic.
What's the Shia LaBeouf thing called?
Running Through the Forest from Shia LaBeouf.
Running Through the Forest.
I would just YouTube that specifically because I don't remember exactly what it's called.
Is it the one with him in the audience in a tuxedo? Okay. Yeah, I got it. It's the power of the internet, man.
You're walking in the woods. There's no one around and your phone is dead.
We're going to listen to
Out
this.
of the corner of your eye, you spot him.
And then we'll be right back, folks.
He's following you, about 30 feet back. He gets down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. He's gaining on you.
Shia LaBeouf.
You're looking for your car, but you're all turned around. He's almost upon you now, and you can see there's blood on his face. My God, there's blood everywhere!
Running for your life from Shia LaBeouf. He's brandishing a knife. It's Shia LaBeouf. Lurking in the shadows. Hollywood superstar Shia LaBeouf. Living in the woods. Shia LaBeouf. Killing for sport. Shia LaBeouf. Eating all the bodies. Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Now it's dark, and you seem to have lost him. But you're hopelessly lost yourself. Stranded with a murderer. You creep silently through the underbrush. Aha! In the distance, a small cottage with a light on. Hope. You move stealthily toward it, but your leg! Ah! It's caught in a bear trap!
Gnawing off your leg.
Quiet, quiet.
Living to the cottage.
Quiet, quiet.
Now you're on the doorstep. Sitting inside. Shia LaBeouf. Sharpening an axe. Shia LaBeouf. But he doesn't hear you enter. Shia LaBeouf. You're sneaking up behind me. Strangling superstar Shia LaBeouf. Fighting for your life, it's Shia LaBeouf. Wrestling a knife, it's Shia LaBeouf. Stab it in his kidney. Safe at last from Shia LaBeouf.
You limp into the dark woods, blood oozing from your stump leg.
Wait, he isn't dead. Shia surprise, there's a gun to your head. And death in his eyes, but you can do jujitsu. Can do it. Body slam superstar Shia LaBeouf. Legendary fight with Shia LaBeouf. Normal Tuesday night for Shia LaBeouf. You try to swing an axe at Shia LaBeouf, but blood is draining fast from your stump leg. He's dodging every swipe. He parries to the left. You counter to the right. You catch him in the neck. You're chopping off his head now. You have just decapitated Shia LaBeouf.
His head topples to the floor, expressionless. You fall to your knees and catch your breath. You're finally safe from Shia LaBeouf.
No, what?
Wait, he isn't dead. Shia surprise, there's a gun to your head. And death in his eyes, but you can do jujitsu. Can do it. Body slam superstar Shia LaBeouf. Legendary fight with Shia LaBeouf. Normal Tuesday night for Shia LaBeouf. Try to swing an axe at Shia LaBeouf. Blood is raining fast from your stump leg. He's dodging every swipe. He parries to the left. You counter to the right. You catch him in the neck. You're chopping off his head now. You have just
His head topples to the floor, expressionless. You fall to your knees and catch your breath. You're finally safe from Shia LaBeouf.
Wow. Wow.
Did it show him clapping?
Yeah, it showed him. He's like,
Wait, he isn't dead. Shy surprise, there's a gun to your head, and death in his eyes, but you can do jujitsu.
you know, I'm gonna have this fucking song in my head.
It's so
all night
funny
now.
though.
What-
Did it show him clapping at the end?
Yeah, it's this one that I clicked on is like 6 minutes.
No, it
of-
must be looped.
Yeah, he's in the audience just in a tuxedo clapping at the end. It's
Yeah.
fucking Here's the funny part about this video that all I can think of. First of all these folks that are in this chorus are reading from this nice binder thing each,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them look very professional, and they're singing this song, and I gotta say, when they put this to this choir, what was their reaction? Like, I want to know what their reaction was. Like, are we?
My
seriously
favorite part is
fucking
when
doing
the
this?
paper mache head comes out.
And none of them look like I'm sorry, the paper mache doesn't look like Shia LaBeouf, but it's fucking hilarious.
It's
then-
hilarious.
And then they put his name on the screen behind everybody. I've never seen this before, but it's fucking hilarious. I love
Now
it.
you're gonna share it to everybody.
I'm not only gonna share it, but it's gonna be in my head forever, bro.
Yep.
It's gonna be in my head forever. So, in keeping with the Roll Call Room podcast, and you know, we're back now. We're hopefully gonna do these every week. My brain was racked, and I was like, you know, what can I do with Logan that would be fun for both of us to participate in? And there were a lot of things that I thought of, and one of them in particular, I think we'll do together when we have a little bit more advanced time, which is I think we should do the Pocky Chip Challenge.
What's that?
Oh, you got to look it up, my friend.
Is that a spicy chip?
Yeah, it is.
Are you gonna send me some spicy stuff? I mean, I'll eat it. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be funny, bro. It's going to be hilarious. But the thing I came up with for us to do is Pictionary without drawing stuff. I guess it's not Pictionary. What's the game where you have to describe details of an item without saying the item? What's that called?
Oh, there's the catchphrase.
Yeah, whatever game it is, like you only have like 30 seconds. You got to rattle off things to try and get the
Yeah,
other
you like
person.
pass around this little thing,
Yeah,
and it gives you
but this
catchphrase.
one, I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of like clues, and you gotta name the police equipment that's normally kept inside of a cruiser or in a duty bag.
Lord,
Does that sound like something that you can get on board with?
we'll give it a shot.
Because I have faith that you can do it. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. Oh yeah, Nickelback.
Oh, a little
baby.
dude, I was listening to Nickelback today.
You know, I always get sidetracked. I'm going to get gas the other day, and this pickup truck that's like blowing diesel all over the fucking place, like smoke, is blasting Nickelback. And I'm pumping my gas, and I'm like, man, that's hardcore. Like, good
Dude.
for you, buddy. Good for you. Good.
You know, they somebody told me that they call them butt rock, and I was
Why?
like, what's butt rock? And they were like, yeah, they play their music on stations that are like, we play nothing but rock all day. So they're a butt rock
got it.
band.
But you know what?
I'm like, I get it.
How many fucking people when these guys came out, they were rocking hit after hit. How many of these
Oh,
fucking
dude.
people that are haters now were
I don't care. I
loving
love
Nickel-
them.
I fucking listen to them all the time.
Between them and Creed.
Oh, I just got back into Creed.
Yeah, man, they rock, dude.
I love them. And what's his name? Scott Stapp's new band is pretty good too. You should check it out.
So he's not with Creed anymore? Like it's not a thing?
No, they are not getting back together anytime soon, my friend.
Well, I remember when I first started taking guitar lessons, I learned it was the higher.
Oh yeah,
I learned
what
how
a
to play
good
that.
fucking
My
song,
guitar
bro.
teacher was teaching me that because he liked Mark Tremonti,
Yeah,
who was the guitar player.
What a good band. All right, we're gonna do the first one. Okay. So I'm going to name off some things, and you have to name the item that I'm speaking of. You ready?
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Moist. Cleanup. Sweat. Smells good.
What do they call it? Like, it's not hand sanitizer, but it's like
Moist.
Clorox wipes
Very good. Good job.
or something like it.
Yes. I had baby wipes, but Clorox.
Oh, baby
wipes.
wipes. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't have baby wipes in your duty bag, get some because they're
Yeah.
a fucking lifesaver. Okay. Plastic.
Safety goggles.
No, very, very close. No, not even close. Plastic.
Taser.
Jesus. Plastic makes a clicking sound. Hands.
Zip cups.
Boom, you got it. Good job.
Those are really nice to have. Just one good set.
I always had one or two looped in my gear bag on the
Yeah.
strap. They come in handy, especially if you're doing mass arrest.
Yeah.
Itchy.
Foot powder.
Scratch. Scratch bite.
Like a bug spray.
Boom, you got it.
Dryer sheets work really well too.
Do they?
Yeah, you rub dryer sheets on your skin.
I never heard of that. Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I worked in the county. We used to go back into the deep woods.
Oh,
So
well,
we would do anything.
I worked in the city. We didn't have a lot of woods.
You didn't have mosquitoes the size of your fist.
We had mosquitoes, but I mean nothing that off couldn't handle.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Annoying commander. Headache.
I do not want this in my car.
Take two.
Aspirin,
Very good.
Tylenol, whatever.
Yeah.
Oxycodone.
Jesus Christ. Look your best.
A tie.
No.
Shoe shine.
Oh, how the hell did you get that? Shoe polish.
Because that is always something that people say. Oh, you got to shine your boots.
Look your best. Tell
Yeah.
you.
See, I came from the last PD that I was at. We could wear like tennis shoes. We didn't
Really?
have to have shinable shoes.
You're
Yeah,
lucky, dude.
it was nice. But the PD before that, when I was on the sheriff's office, we had to have shinable boots.
We had to have shine, but nobody ever fucking checked it. This may be old school, but you seriously should get one of these. Crime scene.
Crime scene tape?
Evidence. Document.
Like a scene log,
No.
magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass. What the fuck is this? Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes.
The fuck? Hey, we're gonna get them. You see?
That is not Sherlock Holmes. It's more like Dick Tracy.
Takes a memory card.
Oh, a camera.
Very good.
Oh,
Very
okay,
good.
yeah.
Even though you have one on your phone, you need to be cautious about taking pictures on your phone.
I was always told that, but I
don't
near
trust
the
it.
end, like, because the camera would always die.
Yeah.
So I'm like, screw it. I'll just take a couple of pictures, email them to myself, and delete them. If Hillary Clinton can get away with that, I can too.
Can she? All right. Last one, because you're doing really, really well on these. Decomposing body.
Nose plug
Close.
or something to put it. Like Vic Sav.
Yep. Vicks Vapor Rub. You got
Yeah,
it.
vapor rub. Yep.
Damn, you did good, buddy. You did good.
I'm older than I look.
All right. Well, I think we did.
I never really had a problem with that with dead bodies.
I've had a
Like,
lot of stinky ones, man.
I had some stinky ones. What I'm saying is that I can shut off the inside of my nose
Oh, you're
and just
fucking
breathe
lucky.
through my mouth.
I'll tell you, the only time that I've ever barfed on the job wasn't even a DOA, even the worst decomposing one. It was when I was in field training. My field trainer decided to be an asshole, and we arrested a homeless guy for trespassing.
Oh,
And we went into the holding area where they come and they search them. And this guy easily hadn't taken a shower in like a month.
I think I
And-
know this story.
Yeah, dude. And they took his shoes off. I was fine with like the shirt and the BO and everything. They took his shoes off. And when they took his sock off, it bursted into like little particles. And I could see the particles slowly coming towards my face. And then I smelled it. Like I smelled his foot. Done, bro. I just the fucking super big bite from 7-Eleven was like all over the fucking place, man. It was the only time I've ever thrown up, and I've been on some horrific fucking crime scenes.
Looked like somebody hit the bottom of a foot powder bottle and it just sprayed everywhere.
It was like in slow motion too. Like the deputy like started at like his ankles where the sock still had elastic to it.
Oh,
And then as soon as it went to the heel, it was stuck on the sole. And when he went to pull that thing off, man, the only thing that was keeping that thing on his foot was hope and prayers.
oh.
But when he pulled that thing off, it was just basically like when he pulled it off, it was a leg warmer. It no longer
Oh.
had the bottom foot part. So it was just in the air, dude. It just disintegrated. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And I never fuck with that guy again, man. I've seen him. I saw him so many times on the property that I arrested him for. I was like, nope, you good, bro.
Not worth it.
You good. PNC will forgive you. Don't worry. They're rich
Oh.
enough. But
There was one time when I worked in the jail
oh,
that during the summertime, the guys that were on work release would get extra work down at the state fair.
mm,
And this old dude, I don't remember his name, but he had to have been 90 pounds. And he comes in one night and I'm checking him in. And every time for work release, you have to do pull their shorts down and they squat and cough.
oh, Jesus.
Do that. You're not like doing searches like cavity searches, but they
It's
squat and cough.
It's just like shit that's in there gets loose and then comes out without
Yeah.
doing a cavity search.
So this old boy, he pulls his shorts down and takes them off and then squats down and coughs. And I'm not kidding you when I say a peanut with the shell
Oh,
fell down to the floor. I was like, what is that? Where
Oh.
did that come from? And he was like, oh, I put it there. I thought it'd be a funny joke.
oh,
like, I don't care if it was a joke
No.
or not. Pick it up and throw it outside.
no.
A whole shelled peanut.
Oh, jeez. That's just nasty. Jesus, dude. We're gonna have to do an episode on like worst like scenes. I think we did that back in
Oh.
season 1, but there's just so many to choose from. But we have to bring this one to a close.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, it's been great, Logan, having you on. You'll be on again, of course.
Glad to be back.
We're happy to have you.
Everybody, be sure to listen to this.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Show some support.
Yeah. Check us out on rollcallroom.com. You can email me at nick@rollcallroom.com. Logan, tell them about your podcast. Where could they find you?
Oh, yeah. You can find me over at my show is called Little Hollow Life, LITTLE HOLLOWLIFE. And I'm that on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as well.
And I love your videos every morning. They're very inspirational. If you're looking for a good inspiration every day, definitely check that out. I love them.
Thank you.
I just
you should try my program.
I certainly will. I think the next episode we're going to talk about health and wellness. Not the whole episode, but we'll talk about health and wellness. I talked about it on your show. Like, I'm very heavy into that now. Not heavy, but I'm definitely more conscious of my health.
You got too heavy, and now you're heavily into making things better.
I was a fat fuck. There's no shadow of a doubt, bro.
You lost about 10 pounds in the beard.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I thought you knew how much I lost just this week when you said 10 pounds. I was like, how the fuck did you know that? So we'll talk about that. Folks, take good care of each other. Reach out to us. And, of course, if you need any help or you need anything, please reach out to somebody. Be safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Sweet, bro. Sweet. Love it.
This echo is so annoying.
I didn't hear it.
I hope it's not on the playback.
We'll see. Hold on. I'm going to see. I don't even know how.
Because it's
I'll play
obnoxious.
with it later. I'm going to try and get this bad boy out for tomorrow morning.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Well, buddy, I appreciate you being on. We'll do this again, depending on what happens next week. I got a heavy travel week next week, but we'll see if you're free.
Okay. Yeah, I'm typically open Mondays.
Okay. Yeah, those are a good day for me because usually I'm home Monday and Fridays, and then I travel like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
But I'll let.
Do you want to help the Roll Call Room podcast keep going? Of course you do. Join Patreon and pledge to the show each month. Tiers start at $5 and you can get some pretty cool shit with it, including swag and access to listen to episode clips early. So put that Starbucks coffee down and help my dad keep the show going. Don't be a fucking Steve. Go to rollcallroom.com to pledge today.